Greetings comic fans, I'm Jason and welcome to my comic reviews. This week I have 11 books to get through, so hopefully we can keep as near as possible to that magic number 20 minutes. You may notice, for those regular viewers, you may notice that I'm in a slightly different place. It's the same room, just a different position. We've got the electricians coming in, so we had to move all the furniture. So that's why I'm in a different position, but then they couldn't do the work because for different reasons, so they're coming back, but we haven't moved everything back because at some point they're coming back and we're going to have to move everything again. So that's why for maybe the next month I might be in this position before I'm back in my original position. So yeah, so you get a different viewpoint of the same room. So let's get straight into the books, and I'm going to start off with, like I said last week, what's going to become a weekly thing, where I'm going to kick things off with the two weekly books. So first up, Future's End, issue number 21, and I just really love that cover there with Green Arrow and all these kind of like people there. This book was pretty much the whole kind, one story throughout the whole book, which is really unusual for this book because usually we get a few stories in there, but it was pretty much all Green Arrow and Arsenal kind of telling Bad Barda, or is it Big Barda? I can't never remember. I think it's Big Barda, telling her what happened. So we get to see the whole exodus from Earth 2. We get to see the War of Worlds and the aftermath of that and the rise of Cadmus. A lot of the stuff here we knew, but it's kind of filling in the blanks. And as with any time you get good writers, they fill in the blanks with more questions. You know, we get the answers and it just leaves us with more questions. In particular, the identity of Arsenal, who doesn't seem to be Arsenal. It seems to be Red Arrow from Earth 2. And it brings this big question for me. Like, we've heard Red Robin and Red Hood kind of speak about him, and those and particularly the instance with Red Robin is mentioned in here, but they didn't know it wasn't Roy Harper. So is the Earth 2 Red Arrow? Is he Roy Harper from that Earth? Or because otherwise I can understand the general public not knowing, because they'd only see the hood and the mask, so they wouldn't get a real good look at the face. But certainly people that know him well, like Red Hood and even Red Robin, would recognise that this isn't Roy Harper, you know. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping that's going to get explained in the future, so I'm looking for. But other than that, I thought this was a really good issue. It, like I say, it fills in a lot of the blanks we had, and leaves you with more questions. I enjoyed the art. I feel the artists on this book are much more consistent. The art styles aren't as different as on Batman Eternal. But this was another really good issue, and I'm really enjoying the series. And I give Future's End, issue number 21, 5 stars out of 5. So moving on to the other weekly now, we have Batman Eternal, issue number 25. I thought this was going to be the origin story of Hush, but it's not. That's next week. This is the issue where Batman gets up to speed and knows what we know. You know who's betrayed him, and sort of gets to know who's behind all what's going on in Gotham. I really enjoyed this issue. The art initially I wasn't too keen on, but it grew on me as I looked at it. And I think a lot of the art growing on me, I think, was the way this book was coloured. I think it was a lot to do with the way this book was coloured. It really helped the art for me. I really liked Red Robin in this issue, and I'm really hungry for a Red Robin solo series. Loved his interactions with Harper Row and Red Hood. And he, for me, was the highlight of this whole book. And yeah, I really would love to see a Red Robin book. I also really liked that Batman is now up to speed with what's going on. So that's really cool. I did have one kind of disconnect. I didn't understand the jump in when Batman finds out why Gordon is still in prison and who let the architect out of prison. When he learns the reason what happened and who let the architect out, why he immediately puts that together with Hush, that was something I didn't understand. And maybe it was me having a thick moment, or maybe it's because I never read the original stories with Hush. He's a character I don't know nothing about. I don't know which one of them it is, but certainly for me that did give the book a bit of a disconnect. Though I still really enjoyed this story, and I give Batman Eternal, issue number 25, 4 stars out of 5. Next up, we jump on now to our monthly books, and we have issue number 10 of Magneto as we continue the road to Axis. This book was a bit confusing because we had Uncanny Avengers 24, which seemed to take place after Magneto number 9. This book takes place in between those two books. Magneto here has been captured by the Red Skull, and the Red Skull's kind of getting into his brain, trying to like break away Magneto's will. He wants to break him, not just physically but mentally as well. So we go all through Magneto's memories, and we really get a good look into Magneto and into who he is and what makes him tick. And yeah, I really love this. It's not often you get such a really good look at a character as you do in this book. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. The art worked well with the story, and I loved the art. That worked really well, but it was just how we literally got into Magneto's head to find out what motivates him, what drives him forward. So yeah, this for me was just an utter treat. This is the first book I read this week, and when I'd read all my books, while there were some good books, this was still my fave. So I'd give Magneto issue number 10 is my pick of the week. Next up, we have Amazing X-Men issue number 11. I've been enjoying this Wendigo story. This issue was kind of a bit of a bump in the road. I did enjoy the scenes with Aurora and Northstar, and seeing how Northstar has kind of grown as a character since he was in Alpha Flight, and how he's not quite the person he was, and Aurora's kind of noticing that. I thought that was really cool. It's still awesome to see Colossus once again part of the X-Men. I thought that was really good. And I liked the general thing of Wolverine now a Wendigo, and how dangerous that is. So there was a lot of elements to this I still really enjoyed. I didn't like they added the supernatural element to it, and I didn't think they needed that, especially this is part 4 or 5, and they didn't need it in part 4 because you've got to resolve everything next issue. If you're going to introduce that, you should have done it last issue, not now when we've got one issue left to resolve this all. And I just felt that we had enough story here to kind of go with. We didn't really need to add that supernatural element, and I didn't like that being added in. Other than that, though, yeah, I'm still enjoying this, and I give Amazing X-Men issue number 11 4 stars out of 5. We then have Edge of Spider-Verse issue number 3. This issue we get Aaron Aikman, the Spider-Man. This issue, again, as with previous issues, we go to another universe and introduced to a different Spider-Man. Dustin Weaver, he does the art on this as well as the writing, so this is a total book by him. Inks, colours, everything is him in this book, and I love seeing books like that because it's really interesting to see a book with that overall feel and a single vision. I really love that. I did at the end of it, I felt a bit let down because it was kind of like this character obviously isn't going to be part of the bigger story. So it was like, well, what was the point? Because previously we've been introduced, or I've been introduced to characters like Spider-Man Noir and Gwen Stacy Spider-Woman, characters I didn't know and that are going to play a part in this event. But this issue, this character seemingly doesn't. While it's a good story with a real nice twist, and I really enjoyed it, and I really like this character and this world, and I would have liked to explore this world a bit more. And it does kind of show that this world where Spider-Man really seems to be the only hero, what the consequences of this family going through killing all the spider totems from different universes, the consequences this can have on different worlds, which can be pretty catastrophic if he's the only hero. So I did like that element, but at the same time it was kind of like they could have used this issue to introduce somebody who's going to play a part in that. Or one of the characters we've been introduced to already, we could have got their backstory a bit more. So yeah, I feel it was a wasted opportunity if this character isn't going to play any more part in it. Though I did enjoy it and did really love the art and the way the book was put together and the story. So I'd give Edge of Spider-Verse issue number 3 4 stars out of 5. Rolling right along now to Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 19, and this issue continues the original Sin tie-in where we find out what happened to Richard Rider Nova and how Star-Lord and Drax kind of came back from the dead with Thanos. They're in the Cancerverse, and I really love seeing this other universe because, and they don't do this often enough, our laws that govern our universe, they don't run exactly the same there, and I like that. I like that the laws are slightly different, and I think that that's really cool, and I'm surprised it's a device they don't use more often. I thought that was a great bit. The art throughout this book was really good. I really enjoyed that. Though Star-Lord did look a bit different, even in like the modern day scenes, he did look a bit different to me in the book, or maybe I've seen the movie too many times. But yeah, he did look different in this one. I did feel like there's going to be a part 3. And I did feel the story, there's enough there. They could have condensed it into 2 parts rather than have it go a 3rd month when you got Access kicking off next month and this is still on original sin. I did feel that the story is going to be too long, but we'll see what next month brings. But certainly for this issue, I enjoyed this and seeing this other universe and finding out what happened to these characters. And for me, it's been an introduction to Richard Rider. I've read out issues of him, but never on like an ongoing run of his. So yeah, I'm really liking this Nova so far, and yeah, I'd give Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 19 4 stars out of 5. So staying in outer space, we're going to move on next to Saga issue number 23, and this was for me a return to form. It was the first time in a while that the book ends on a really cool cliffhanger where I'm like, I really want to see what happens next. While I've been enjoying the book, I haven't had that real drive over the last couple of months. The story basically, Dengo, he wants to get on TV, but then our character on the cover, whose name escapes me at the moment, she kind of tells him, you know, about Marco and Alana and how he needs their baby, and that will get people's attention and for him to push his cause. So he goes off to get baby Hazel. Marco and Alana have had this argument, and we get the aftermath of that. And then the book splits them up, but not in the way we were anticipating. And I thought it was a really clever swerve. The artwork, as always, by Fiona Staples was first class. And I really enjoyed this issue. I got enveloped in it again. And that was something that always used to happen. When I read Saga, I was just enveloped in this Saga bubble. And probably because we've been getting something we don't want. The split up, the breakup of Marco and Alana. It's been difficult to read sometimes the last couple of months. But I think certainly the last few issues, it's been getting a lot stronger, and I'm really intrigued with where the book's going to go now, and really want to see next month where things are going to go. So I give Saga issue number 23 5 stars out of 5. So rolling right along now, we have The Flash Future's End issue number 1. This was some of these Future's End issues. It's easy to get the picture, and some of them it's harder. So you have Wally West there, and we have Barry Allen Flash. The story is set 5 years in the future, but it continues our ongoing story with the future Flash, who's going through time, because in the present, he's begun to notice that when he uses the Speed Force, he's losing time. So we jump to the future Flash, who has, this time has really cost him, and people have died, and bad things have happened because he couldn't get there in time, because he was losing time. So he's been travelling through time, kind of righting the wrongs, and his final wrong to right is 5 years in the future with the death of Wally West. He has to stop the death of Wally West, and and that leads him into running into his self, or past self, but from our perspective, his future self, or his further future self meets his future self, if that makes any sense, because I know I'm confused. It doesn't read as confusing as I explain it. I felt the issue was really well done. I think it works well as a jumping on point as well as a continuation, and I think anytime you can combine that, it's brilliant. It sets up some interesting things going forward that I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to get resolved. So yeah, there's just a lot of good in here. The art of Brett Booth, once again, is just gorgeous. I'm really falling in love with his art, and I loved that. And I'm really intrigued with where the story is going to go next. And I think, you know, I loved Manapul and Bucciolalo on this book. They did a fantastic job, but I think Venditti and Jensen have come in and they've not missed a beat, and I think they do some really interesting stuff with the character. And I give Flash Future's End issue number 1 4 stars out of 5. I think I'd take a star off because there was like the one bit where the future Flash decides he has to kill the Flash of 5 years of the future. I didn't quite understand why he had to kill him, but hey. Other than that, I thought it was really good. So 4 stars out of 5. So moving right along now to Batman 66, issue number 15. I didn't enjoy this one as much. Basically, it's a team-up issue as Black Widow teams up with not Marvel's Black Widow. This is the Batman Black Widow. Teams up with the Penguin to take out our dynamic duo. I always enjoy seeing Penguin, and once again Jeff Parker got the verbiage just right, and it feels of the time and of this series. But I just didn't really feel this character Black Widow, and I don't know if it's because I don't know her, or if it's because I know there's another Black Widow and I kind of disconnected it for me, or what. But I just didn't find myself enjoying this story as much, even though there were some good elements. There's an element where they're climbing up a building, which when I think back to the TV show, I remember them doing that a lot. So I thought that was really cool that they had a scene like that. As always, the book was funny and fun, but it just didn't, I think, was as good as usual, and I'd give Batman 66 issue number 15, I'd give 3 stars out of 5. So, our penultimate book, and this book, it's a writer I was complaining about, but I thought I'd give the book a go, because I'd been hearing good things. It's New Avengers, issue number 24, by Jonathan Hickman. Avengers was always one of my favourite books as a kid. It was the first, I read the UK version of Secret Wars and Transformers, so the first, American type comic that I started to buy regular was Avengers. So when I started getting that, and so Avengers has always been the book that's been my favourite, and I've kind of fallen off Hickman. I felt at times his books, they were a bit inaccessible, and that sometimes they were hard to follow, and he's good at writing an overall story, but he's not good at breaking that down into chunks where each chunk has a bit of action and a bit of things to enjoy. So I kind of dropped off his Avengers books, but I've been hearing good things about this, so I picked up this issue. This book was $4.99, and the cover says, in 8 months time runs out. So the basic premise, I don't know what's happening in 8 months yet, but basically in this book, since the beginning, we've had these excursions of these other Earths from other universes kind of coming into our own universe, and either both Earths are going to get destroyed, or one Earth is going to get destroyed and the other survives. So the Illuminati got together and they decided they needed to come up with a way to destroy these Earths, and they did it, but they couldn't go through with it. But then Namor, he done it for them, and they kicked him out of the Illuminati, said he shouldn't have done it, shouldn't have took that decision by himself. Namor set up his own cabal now, of these characters. So we've got Namor, we got Maximus, Black Swan, Terrax, Thanos, Proxima Midnight, and Corvus Grave, and they are now this cabal that are going to these different Earths when they come into our universe and destroying them. This story is set in 8 months in the future, and we get to see now Namor losing control of his cabal and going for help because he knows he can't control this cabal and needs help. We get to see how that goes down, and then also the price that we've paid is we've given Wakanda to the cabal as you know, kind of the price of keeping the Earth safe, and kind of sold out Wakanda. And so, you know, that throws up this whole situation where T'Challa, the Black Panther, kind of is now kind of a renegade, trying to win back Wakanda and become a bit of a terrorist trying to win it back. I really enjoyed this. This was really good stuff. For a Hickman book, it's very accessible. I read this issue and I read the previous issue, issue 23, and I think you could pick both those books up and you could kind of jump onto this story. I found it really accessible, really fun, really interesting. I'm looking for, if this is the future, I'm super intrigued to see it. There was a lot of great elements in the book. The art as well was first class. And this book definitely made me a believer again in the Avengers, and I think I'll definitely be giving all of Hickman's books a look. So expect to see a few Avengers titles turn up in my videos in the next few weeks, because I'm definitely going to be giving a look to those books. And I give New Avengers issue number 24 5 stars out of 5. So finally this week we have The Amazing Spider-Man, Learning to Crawl, issue 1.5. This is the conclusion of our Learning to Crawl story. Once again, I think Dan Slott does a first-class job of capturing the time. On art, we've got Perez. I think, is it Ramon Perez? Let me check. Yeah, Ramon Perez on art. And he kind of very much gets the feel of the time and gives the whole book a kind of retro-y feel. and Spider-Man here has to take out Clash. He has to try and make up for the things he done wrong last issue. And it's a really good issue, and there's some really heartwarming moments between Peter and Aunt May, and Peter thinking back to Uncle Ben. That brought a tear to my eye. Some really great writing here. That was brilliant, and really kind of get behind Spider-Man and why he's always like he is. And I really liked how Dan Slott threw that in there, as it really explains why Peter is the jokey kind of character that he is. I also really liked the kind of fate of Clash and that story, and how that story come to a close. I thought that was really good. And all in all, this was a book going into it, the learning to crawl part, I wasn't really looking that forward to, but I really enjoyed it. And I think they've done a really bang up job making it feel of the time, while still feeling contemporary. I think they've done a great job there, and this was a really good issue. And I give Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man that is, issue 1.5, 5 stars out of 5. That's 5 stars out of 5. So that's me done for another week. I will be back most likely. At the moment, it's looking definitely Wednesday. I will have a whole video for you. I will then be back next weekend with another review video. Next week is a big week for me. I think I've got 20 books coming out again. So again, I will try and do the video as short as possible. 11 books this week, and we're in over 20 minutes. So 20, nervous. But what I'm going to try and do next week, I'm going to try and make some notes. So if I start looking down like that, it isn't because I'm burying. It's just because I'm going to start keeping some notes. I know the other week when I reviewed For God of Thunder, I forgot to make one of the points of why I really took a star off that book and give it 4 stars. I really forgot to kind of discuss a main point that I wanted to talk about. And, you know, so, and also I think it would help, reading from notes would help me stay on task and keep these videos, these reviews shorter. So, you know, I just kind of like bullet points that I can kind of refer to. I'm hoping also it will stop me saying all the time, because that's my thinking phrase when I'm thinking. So hopefully that will work. So I'm going to try that next week, and hopefully it'll keep the video short, because it's going to be a big week. I hope you've all enjoyed your comics. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give me those beautiful thumbs up. Let me know you like what I'm doing. As I said, I will be back next week. I hope you all have a great weekend. I've been Jason. These have been my comic reviews. Bye for now.